In this episode of Empire of the Full Moon, I'm going to be talking about a movie that is a first-time watch for me. It's based on a story by Charles Band frequent collaborator David Schmoller, so it has to be good, right? I'm your host, Mike Cadaver. Before we get started, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and like this video. You won't regret it, trust me. We can all use a boost on our karma. Okay, let's get into it. That's right, folks. This episode, we're talking about Ghost Town from 1988. Currently, this is sitting at a 5.3 on IMDb with almost 2,000 ratings. It was directed by Richard McCarthy, but he was credited as Richard Governor on this. He doesn't have a ton of directing credits on IMDb. This plus a couple of Benny Hill projects, and I mean, not to downplay Benny Hill, but it's 3 total. This is actually based on a story by David Schmoller, like I said in the intro. Mr. Schmoller was a frequent collaborator to Charles Band during the Empire Pictures days and the early Full Moon days, and we've actually talked about a lot of his stuff on this show so far. We did Crawl Space, Catacombs, and Netherworld, which he directed them all. However, he also directed Tourist Trap from 1979 and Puppet Master from 1989. Duke Sandifer was also credited as having written the script for this one, and there's not much on him either. One thing that I haven't talked about much on this show, even though we've talked about some of his movies, is the cinematography of Mac Ahlberg. I've talked about what makes the films of Charles Band so special before. Talk about the castles that he's owned that gave great locations, the locations that he's been able to find in even here in the United States, some of the places that he's purchased even here, for instance, in the church that he's purchased in Cleveland, and also some of the things that he does, the newer stuff in the house that he did there. He's been able to shoot like a ton of stuff based on what he already has this is part of his toolbox. But the one thing I haven't mentioned directly are the people he's found to work and collaborate with. Now, Mac Ahlberg over the years has done so many great things, and he's really boosted the quality and I guess the respectability of a lot of Charles Band's films. He takes the low budget films, it gives them a level of professionalism that aren't necessarily normal for films in this range, but that's just, I mean, that's what Charles Band does. He finds these people and he puts them to work. Mr. Ahlberg was there in the early days for Band, having filmed Parasite, The Dungeon Master, Reanimator, From Beyond, among others, of course, including this movie, Ghost Town. This movie stars Frank Luz as Langley, Catherine Hickland as Kate, Jimmy F. Skaggs as Devlin, Penelope Winlust as Grace, Bruce Glover as the dealer, among a lot of others, but why don't we just get into it real quick, shall we? Before Oblivion from 1994 and Oblivion 2 Backlash from 1996, Charles Band brought us his first horror western film with Ghost Town from 1988. Ghost Town is a story of curses, courage, and loyalty. The movie opens up with Kate driving through the scorching Arizona desert, apparently fleeing her wedding, which, by the way, we don't ever get any details on. She's apparently gone a long way, and she finds herself on a small dirt road by herself in the middle of nowhere, when she starts to hear the clippity-clop of a ghostly horseman who comes to her via dust storm and takes her away to Cruz del Diablo, a ghost town in a different dimension lost in time. All that's left is Kate's abandoned car on the side of the road. Enter Langley, the strapping young deputy assigned to the worst part of the United States, the Arizona desert. He's a good cop, making sure to have no mercy on abandoned cars and other trash left in the desert. And before you say anything about the Arizona desert, I've been there in the summer. You can't even argue with me. That has got to be the worst. Humans can't even live there. Anyway, he gets called to search for Kate because they found the car. He finds the car, and while he's getting his thoughts together, the same Ghost Rider shoots him and his car explodes, and he's left to wander the desert injured. Now, as a note, Band was a genius here. We're made to think that it was the bullet of the Ghost Rider that set the Bronco in flames. Well, Band saved a bunch of money because it was just what happens to cars in the Arizona desert. By the way, Ghost Town was shot on location in October of 1987, September and October, at the old Tucson Studios in Tucson, Arizona. That state is beautiful. It's got a lot of fun stuff to do, but man, is it hot there. After trudging through the desert, somehow Langley is transported to Cruz del Diablo as well, not knowing that's where Kate is. He's taken by a blacksmith and his daughter to heal up for a while, and they give him some TLC as he's getting better. As an aside, I have one bone to pick with this, by the way. Speaking of the TLC, IMDb needs to do better on this, because on the parents guide there, it says there's no sex or nudity in this film. Well, IMDb, if this is true, why am I using the official Empire of the Full Moon nudie hider in this scene, huh? It turns out that this interdimensional ghost town is being run by a lawless bunch of undead outlaws run by a guy named Devlin. Devlin does what he wants, when he wants, and the people are powerless against him. It turns out that Devlin is the guy who brought Kate to Cruz del Diablo in the first place. But why? We will find out. As Langley has some time to heal, he learns about Devlin and his lawless crew of bandits. He learns that Kate is being held captive by them. Turns out that Kate reminds Devlin of his old lover. And that's just unfortunate. But anyway, as Langley starts to explore the town to figure out what's going on, he runs into a seer known as the Dealer, and a town full of ethereal figures who want this all to end. But in doing so, he gets the attention of Devlin and his crew. By the way, I wish I had a dime for every time the word lawman was used in this movie.
A lawman. Why you here, lawman?
Lawman. Lawman.
Death, lawman.
Cards, lawman.
Wrong card, lawman.
You want me, lawman?
And you know what's funny is also Charles Band again brings up his genius, because there's one guy that dies and starts on fire. Again, that's just being in the desert of Arizona. Can Langley find Kate and return her to his own time and space? Is Langley the world's greatest hide-and-seek champion? Do you think Langley thinks it was worth going back in time and going through what he did because he got to meet and get the TLC from the blacksmith's daughter, if you know what I mean? Find out by watching Ghost Town from 1988. You know, I like this one. I like the look and feel. The desert locations added to it a lot. The ghost town looked authentic. The desert looks oppressive. I mean, it's the Arizona desert, so it is oppressive. I've been there, like I said. It's unfit for human life. The heat down there is just brutal. It's like it melts the pavement, and I'm not even joking. There's a lot of ethereal scenes. Those were great, and I definitely love the spooky vibe. Devlin's makeup looks great. You know, it didn't look strange as James Skaggs emoted. He seems like a very expressive guy. In this, I don't know if that's just him or if it's in this movie, but the makeup didn't look unnatural at any point in the movie. You know, sometimes something just won't move naturally, or you see like a hard part on a mask or something like that. None of this here. The makeup was gorgeous. Langley is an easy guy to root for. Pure intentions, courageous, ruggedly handsome. By the way, this did get a limited theatrical release, but it didn't go great. It was released on VHS in 1988 through New World Home Video. It doesn't seem like there was ever a DVD release, but in 2015 there was a Scream Factory release of a Blu-ray. But it's just weird that it never really found its way to DVD. The thing is the more I learn about this, the more I understand why. Because this isn't my favorite movie that I've done on this movie. Like I said, it was a first time watch. And typically I've seen most of these in the first place, and typically I like to talk about the ones that I like. But I decided to take a chance with this one. This one I just wish was a little bigger. Everything looked great. Everything was wonderful. But I wish there was more spectacle. The story is great. Cursed town, doomed to live in the past dimension where they are under a rule of an undead outlaw, constantly looking for redemption and to finally be set free by this cruel way of life. By the way, that sounded like the Renegade intro, and which, by the way, who doesn't love Renegade? And if you don't know what Renegade is, well, I just feel bad for you. Anyways, the look and the feel of this movie are authentic, super cool. From the skeletal undead townsfolk to the buildings and the sets. However, when all's said and done, it was basically a set of outlaws terrorizing a town. Oh, and one of them had a messed up face. But this is Empire Pictures, man. Give me all the special effects. And Charles Band, I mean, I know that there are a ton, and this will always be a thing for his movies probably. But there's always budget constraints, right? But even though that's the case, even with this one, Charles Band always seems to make low-budget movies look great. I mean, we're already past things like The Dungeon Master, and that had a bunch of different scenes where there was a ton of stuff going on. If it looks silly, at least it's fun and interesting. I think this is great. It's worth a watch. However, I did learn one thing, and I think this is the thing that really kind of you can tell. Schmoller, who was originally slated to direct this, was actually replaced with Richard McCarthy, a total rookie, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the reasoning was. The reason is that Empire needed to rush this through to the finish because Empire was on its last legs, man, and they just wanted to get it released. And so what happened is they got a work print out there, and they weren't able to finish it all the way. So that work print is really what we're seeing in this. They didn't have a chance to go through and make a bunch of, who knows what this could have become if they had the chance to get some more money or some more time into it. Like I said, it's not bad and it's an entertaining movie, but man, it just seems like it's missing a little bit of that Charles Band magic, and that totally makes sense with this. You can't find this streaming right now, but like I said, go get the Scream Factory Blu-ray to pick up. Even though it's just a work print that they put out, I enjoyed it. It was fun to me. I don't know. I feel sad about it because of the potential that I think it had, and that it just wasn't able to because of the circumstances where Empire Pictures was there. And aren't we lucky though? Because a year later we get Schmoller directing what would become probably the most impactful film in Charles Band's career, at least for Full Moon Features, which is The Puppet Master. Anyways, that's all I got for this. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to subscribe if you already haven't. Tell your friends about it. Also tell your friends in YouTube. Go to corpsecollective.com. You'll find a bunch of other stuff we're doing there. We got our Horror Pub Trivia right here. We got our Horror Pub Trivia stuff going on. We got articles. We've got anything like that. And if you want to contribute, let me know. Just send me a message. Anyways, that's all I got for this one. So we'll catch you guys later.